two guys that have to actually move it around. They're rolling the table off stage left. We're getting ready to break things off upstage. Now what you're not seeing is that in our offstage right and offstage left areas, we already have pre-stacked the Act 2 pieces as well as the Act 3 pieces. It's kind of every day. For example, tomorrow we'll do Butterfly, Sunday we'll do Showboat. Now, are you guys coming to those shows? All right, you're going to really enjoy both Showboat and Butterfly, so please come back and see it. We will actually, it's a big Tetris game. So we take all of Traviata, we push it to the side, we'll bring Showboat pieces down out of the way, we'll bring then Butterfly to the center, we'll take Traviata further upstage, and then we'll bring Showboat off, we'll put Butterfly on stage, and then we'll stack Showboat back. It's dynamite. You guys, if you get bored tonight, let me know and come back tomorrow and we can watch the scene shift to get ready, okay? So now what you're seeing that we're doing is that we're actually rolling all of the scenery away. Isn't this great? All of these walls that look so solid actually roll away. Now this particular set was actually built in 1987. We've used it 6 times here, and we almost lost it. Right before this particular show loaded in, we store all of our scenery in containers, so 40-foot long containers. And one of our containers had a hole in it, and we opened the door about 2 weeks before opening, and 3 inches of water ran out. Kid you not. So what we did is we went back in, and we have a terrific scene shop. We repainted and decorated all of this stuff. Oh, I'm having to move, and the reason that they're going to make me move, they're going to kick me off stage like Snagglepuss with a little hook suit, is that we actually have ground claws down. Upstairs, you guys can see this. There's 4 different ground claws, and it's canvas material that goes down. And we use about 2,000 tacks every night, literally carpet tacks. I'm going to jump over here. And about 1,000 feet of gaffer's tape. So we have, right now, Act 1, and we lay them backwards. And then you have Act 2, and then you have Act 3. So on the next shift, which you guys are going to see, won't have any curtain. But then we're going to pull up the next one. And then for the quick scene shift between 2-1 and 2-2, Act 2, C1, Act 2, C2, we'll pull up the other one too. And that way we have 3 different floors all night. And then of course the 4th floor is in Act 2, C2, which you can see, which is Flora's house, that is all the way upstage on a big rolling wagon. That in that 5 minutes while you guys are out here, mumbling among yourselves about how fabulous it is and that you don't have your butterfly tickets yet, you're wondering when you can get those and who to call. We're going to be moving all of this stuff down in between the scenes in those 3 to 5 minutes, just hustling like crazy. I have to go out off stage for a little bit. Now I should tell you that what you're watching, to do everything that we do tonight takes 290 people. That's backstage in ours, 290 people to give the show that we're giving to you tonight. That breaks down to 94 people backstage. That's we're makeup, all of the management staff is backstage. There's 75 total artists on stage, including prisoners, chorus, and supernumeraries. 59 in our orchestra. What a great orchestra. You guys having a good time? And as you know, there is only one Maestro Russo. So, and we have him here in San Francisco. So he's the conductor tonight. Now what they've just done is they've taken one of the velour portals. Each one of the acts has a custom velour black portal so that it looks like the houses are sliced through as though you're looking at just a section and a point of view. But you guys have already seen that. You've seen the first guy. She's figured out the design. And we have to swap them because you only have so many line sets. This particular thing coming in right there, that's a line set. We have 72 of those. It's an automated piece so that it's kind of like a video game. And you kids out there, you're going to love it. You're going to want to be a flyman for the San Francisco Opera so that you can use your video game skills to run our fly system. They are untying the ones from the first act, and they're going to preset all of the ones for the next act. Now, for those of you that remember musicals, of course you remember musicals, we're doing showboats, so you're going to come back and see that. But back in the 40s, whenever you had a musical that moved in from out of town, that would go to Broadway, the house carpenter, the guy that ran the theater, would say to the road carpenter, he'd look at him and say, bow ties and knots. Now what that meant is that if the road partner believed that the show wasn't very good, he'd say bow ties. Because probably the show wasn't going to make money and the producer had to get out of town real fast, so therefore they didn't want to pay overtime, they just went tie real fast to get the show out. If it was not, that meant that it was going to be a hit and you didn't want to have to do the maintenance on it, so therefore you tie knots so that you don't have to readjust it. So next time you're in New York, you can let them know that's part of the race.
Well, and I'll remind everyone, if you do have questions for us, you can go on to Twitter and use the hashtag AskGreg, AskGreg, and we will answer your questions here live.
There was also, Act 1 is the drinking act. So we had a total of 149 champagne flutes. There's 17, I know upstairs you guys probably count them all. There's 17 champagne bottles in Act 1, and there's 13 in Act 2. Now, if you can count them and there's not 13, then you should get a hold of me, and I'll give you a backstage tour. So props, there has to be 13 champagne bottles. And then of those flutes that we have, 98 flutes are crystals and 51 are tulips. So, but of course you saw that, right? You also see at the end of this particular scene shift. So right now, props are transferring over from stage right to stage left. We have to move those over there because we need to stay stage right in order to store scenery and also have other props. As well as there's off-stage singing. So you have to have performers off stage. You have to have the bongo. You have to have the band that plays off stage. And we have to have space for all of that.
Now, Greg, may I ask a question? Why are they sweeping?
Why are they sweeping this?
That's right.
Because we want this to be perfectly black. And when it goes down on the ground, it may get dirt spots on it. And our head carpenter is extremely, Mr. Dave Hatch. He's a 30-year veteran with us. We are delighted to have him here. He will get very upset if there's light out front. And he comes out and he checks it. If there's light on it and we see a reflection of that, it's not perfectly black. Because we don't want you guys looking at all of the white spots on the floor.
Supposedly one of the giants to sweep anything, right?
Now, you're seeing, this is actually what we call a shuffle. We're having to bring down Act 2 because now we have to shuffle the Act 1 pieces upstage. This is actually 2-2. And we have to free up the upstage area so that we can get, as you can see, other pieces into the upstage area because we need to have the storage area for that quick scene change between 21 and 22. Shortly, you're also going to see, at the end of this, you're going to see our electrics department come out, and we're going to have to custom focus some of the lights onto the stage. We have inside about 309 lighting fixtures that are used specifically for tonight's show. And out of that, and because color and shade is very important to us, we're not always the most green. So don't hold that against us because we work hard to put together a really realistic show here for you. We use about 390,000 watts a night or so for power pillars. We have 6 follow spots that are right up there above you guys, the 6 follow spots.
Greg, I've got some questions from Twitter for you. So we have from @the Pork Princess, are the flowers real or fake?
The flowers are fake. But don't tell the next audience, okay?
We have another question. How much does it cost to put on each production? This comes from @Switching.
That's a great question. That's a fabulous question. It varies on production by production. It can range anywhere from $1 million to $5 million per production. Now that includes artists, that includes all of our fees for scenery, that includes any type of facility rental, but it really depends on the size of the production. A small show can go anywhere between $1 to $1.5 million, and a large show like a musical could run as much as $5 million per production.
And we have a question also wondering, how does Opera Vision work?
Opera Vision. Opera Vision actually has, we have a media team of about 12 people. There's 11 cameras throughout the house. You'll see 2 down here, right? And if you look down in the orchestra level, there's 2 on the left and the right side, as well as 2 in the back. And then there's 1. If you look right up here, we've got one hit that came over here on the house right side in the organ room. So we have a video director, Frank Sempacona, who actually calls the show upstairs. We have, like I said, a team of 12 people on our 5th floor media suite right over here that look at the show, they film the show, and they have rehearsals, just like we have rehearsals on stage. And then they figure out the shots. Frank calls the shots, and they produce and send it out to you.
And we have a question from @Shift.
Just before that, take a look at this. Now we have to shift everything back upstage. And as you can tell, we use a tremendous amount of manpower. And that's been for hundreds of years in theater, is that the best way to get it done right, even with we have a fabulous automated line system over here. But getting it done precise, because this is not a mechanical art form. This is a living, breathing art form, and everything we do is actually governed by what Maestro does. So if he wants it faster or slower, we actually change how our shifts, how our times are faster or slower. And the crews are accustomed to that, and they listen to the music, and they will follow along with that by how the stage director calls. So a lot of what we do is all still heavily manpower. Sorry.
That's fine. Lisa Schiff wants to know, how long are our sets kept for?
Well, this particular set was built in 1987. Sometimes we keep them close to 30 or 40 years. We have this fall, and I know you've already purchased your tickets to it. Cenerentola coming, and it's a Jean-Pierre Brunel production. That was built in 1969, and it's still one of the most beautiful Cenerentolas that I've ever seen. Beautiful black and white.
So @Opera Memes wants to know, what year is this production set in?
Oh, good heavens. I believe it's in the 1800s. Check your program. I have to admit, I don't remember off the top of my head. That means me, you stumpy. You're going to have to come and see me. During the second edition, I'm going to be out in the concierge desk. We have a concierge desk. If you guys have specific questions that you want to ask me, come on out and see me. I'll be out there and answer some more questions for you. Now what we're doing, we are bringing in, you see that we're bringing in the beams that are coming. Now the beams are only two-sided, so you have one side here and one side here, right? Everything we do has to be as lightweight as possible, because we have to break all of this down, not only daily, but we also have to break it down, and it all fits within 5 containers, 5 shipping containers. We're going to break them all down, and you can see on the top it has what's called a border. There's a soft border on there so that light doesn't spill through. It gives the illusion that it's got a ceiling on it without having a ceiling, because the shift from 2.1 to 2.2, we have a big chandelier that has to come in. You can kind of see it. We've got folks down here, right there, and to get that chandelier in, we can't have a ceiling. But then you'll see an act 3 because we actually put a ceiling back in. So what they're also doing, props right now, they're dressing the swag of the curtains to make certain that it looks right. And who determines how the swag of the curtain is? The set designer. And the set designer will say it needs to look like this, and it'll look like that. As well as upstage, you'll see props working with the garden scene that's in that. The lights that are coming on from stage left, that's our electric screw that's already starting to focus the lights to make certain they get in the right spot. Every single thing we do gets written down, documented, and we hit either a spike or a mark every time. Every light has a very specific place that it's supposed to go, and we have staff that knows where it is supposed to go. What you would also see, and perhaps more folks upstairs can see it, is that even on the floor, you might not be able to see it, but there's a little mark here that has a specific color and has written on it what goes there. And that says that it's the table for this particular act. It's the end table. Now, even the artists will have spike marks that while they're singing, while they're watching Maestro, they'll have to walk over and hit a specific mark for a specific time. Otherwise, the lighting doesn't hit them very well.
I think we have time for one last question. @Joel Car wants to know, how many sets can fit in the house?
We can fit easily about 3 total shows. Sometimes we'll squeeze 4 into here, but let me tell you, there's not enough space for many other people backstage. But usually we get 3 to 4 shows in here. Up until 1979, we actually, when we didn't have what we called a patch, which is the extension on the back of the building, we actually brought shows in and out every single night. So you bring a show in the morning, you would rehearse it, you take the show down, you bring another show in at night. And thank goodness that we added on the back. And now we can do 3 shows, but yet we can fill that up like crazy. So I want to give you just a couple more facts. For those of you that love the costumes tonight, I think the costumes are beautiful. Built in our shop. There are 60 yards of lace for the ladies, 300 yards of black wool for the men. Can you imagine being under 3,000 watts of light and wearing wool, black? There's 3 miles of thread holding the clothes together, 600 hook and eyes, 300 steel bones, and 600 feet of clean steel. Now, in Act 2:2, you're going to notice that Flora goes down on the floor, right? Well, keep in mind that when she does, that hoop is creating an air suction that unless she is trained how to pick up that dress, she's not going to be able to get back up. And she does it masterfully. So you ladies that have ever been stuck on the floor with a hoop, you'll understand what I'm talking about.